Hi everyone, my name is Colleen, and today I'm going to be discussing The Other Boleyn Girl versus Anne of the Thousand Days. Now let me tell you about the movies. They're basically about King Henry VIII who married Catherine. Catherine failed to produce a male heir, which is what King Henry VIII wanted, which made King Henry VIII have a lot of mistresses throughout their marriage, and one of them was named Mary Boleyn, who had a male and a female children, but the king didn't really acknowledge either of them. He then eventually wanted Mary's sister, which was Anne Boleyn. Anne did not want to be a mistress of the king. He wanted him to get a divorce from Queen Catherine. And to do that, King Henry VIII separates the country from Roman Catholic Church, which he then annuls the marriage with Catherine and then eventually marries Anne Boleyn. And they had a daughter together named Elizabeth. And after that, Anne had a miscarriage, which was a boy. And then she eventually asked her brother if he would lay with her, and they discussed and they decided that wasn't right. And King Henry VIII found out about that, and he had her arrested along with her brother and a few other people who came forward and said that they had an affair with the queen, and they were eventually all executed. And in the movies, there weren't really explicit truth claims. They were based on true events of history that actually happened, so it wasn't really narrated or written out throughout the movies. And here I'm going to show you videos of the movie so you get a little insight of what they were actually about.
An opportunity has arisen to be mistress of the King of England. You could secure for this family incalculable wealth and position.
Do I have a choice?
No.
Do you think he'll like me?
Of course he will, sister. How could he not?
The King! The King! May I present my daughter, Anne Boleyn?
You were right to bring me here. And who are you?
Marry, your grace.
The other Boleyn girl.
Yes.
Mary, you've obviously made a deep impression on the king.
What?
In an age when a woman's destiny
Our daughters are being traded like cattle for the advancement of men.
was determined by her father,
It's done.
Tonight.
Try to please him, if you can.
one sister followed the rules.
I didn't betray you. You do know that.
All I know is that a man that didn't know who you were was with you in that room for half an hour and came out besotted.
The other defied them.
And what would you know of great men?
I'd know one if you were before me.
Do you see one here?
Looking, my lord. Ah, found one. I could give you the son you desire. We're sisters.
And therefore born to be rivals.
Will you give yourself to me now?
Make me your queen.
These are dangerous times. The failure to provide a male heir has weakened the king's power.
Soon the truth will be out, and I cannot bear children.
You've reached too high.
These rooms belong to the king's closest friend. His head now rots on a spike.
You have me burned.
I have torn this country apart for you!
The only person whose testimony we'll trust is Mary.
You're my only hope. My life depends on it.
I beg you, spare my sister.
Why are you here for her?
Because she's my sister, and therefore one half of me.
The other Boleyn girl.
So that was a trailer of The Other Boleyn Girl, and now I'm going to show you what Anne of the Thousand Days was like.
This is Hal Wallace speaking from Shepperton Studios in England, where I made Beckett with Richard Burton, and where we've been together again on Anne of the Thousand Days, a film on the scale of Beckett, but on a broader emotional canvas, for this is basically a great love story. Richard Burton portrays Henry VIII, a king intrigued with one of the young women in his court, Anne Boleyn. As Anne Boleyn, a remarkable new talent emerges. Her name, Genevieve Bujold.
I'm mad for you. I dream of you at night. I long for you by day. I'm no good with any other woman. I think of nothing but you. Of you and me playing dog and bitch. Of you and me playing horse and mare. Of you and me in every way. I want to fill you up night after night. I want to fill you up with sons.
Bastards. They would be bastards.
One word more and I'll strike you. One word more.
Without marriage, if you and I have sons, they will be bastards.
Now I'm going to discuss the visual accuracy of both the movies. In Anne of the Thousand Days, the clothes weren't as high-end as you would think a king and queen of royalty would be wearing. Like in the other Boleyn Girl, the clothes were a lot more fancier, more pristine than in Anne of the Thousand Days. More of what you would think royalty would be wearing back in those days. And the castle seemed to depict the right time period in both of them. In the other Boleyn Girl, the castle seemed to be a little bit more detailed rather than in Anne of the Thousand Days. And as you can see in both the movies, the women had very similar hair pieces, and their hair was done almost exactly the same. And the dancing in both of the movies were very similar. And you can tell that they were from that time period, and that would be how royalty would dance back in those days. And now we move on to the aural accuracy of both movies. Now my partner Nick and I believe that the other Boleyn Girl was easier to understand, but in Anne of the Thousand Days they spoke more of a proper English and how royalty would speak, which we believe that took away the aural accuracy in the other Boleyn Girl with them not doing that. And with both of the movies, the music went very well, and it was very smooth and upbeat and bouncy with how the scenes changed and everything. In both the movies, they had somewhat of an accent, but it wasn't too noticeable as you would have thought. And like I said, in Anne of the Thousand Days, Nick and I both agreed that you had to listen a little bit more to actually understand what they were trying to say rather than in the other Boleyn Girl. Chronological accuracy. What Nick and I believed it was Anne of the Thousand Days was a little bit hard to follow, but he believes that Anne of the Thousand Days was a little bit more choppy, which I'm not too sure I agree with him on that one. Anne of the Thousand Days was a longer movie. The other Boleyn Girl was a little bit of a shorter movie. And in both the movies, the pregnancies moved really fast. 1 second they were pregnant, and the next they had their kid. I believe that Anne of the Thousand Days was a little bit more detailed than the other Boleyn Girl. In the other Boleyn Girl, things went quicker, but also other things went slow. And in Anne of the Thousand Days, everything took its time. Thematic accuracy. In Anne of the Thousand Days and the other Boleyn Girl, they were both based on true events of history that actually happened. But I'd have to say that Anne of the Thousand Days was a little bit more detailed of a story, and in the other Boleyn Girl, the storyline moved a little bit quicker. And they both seem to follow the history of the actual events pretty well to what they were supposed to. Which movie depicted the story best? Well, Nick and I have both agreed that the other Boleyn Girl did the movie the best. And we agree with this because it was a better quality movie. The clothes were a lot nicer and fancier than in Anne of the Thousand Days. And in both the movies, the hair pieces were done very nice. And the other Boleyn Girl, the storyline went a little bit quicker. But the only thing that Anne of the Thousand Days, the best thing that they had was that the language was spoken a lot better. It was more of a royalty language, and the time period for the language was perfect on that. If the other Boleyn girl had the language, it would have been hands down better than Anne of the Thousand Days. In conclusion, we believe that both of the movies depicted the storyline and the actual events very well. And as you can see in both movies, there were some differences. The language was different. The architecture of the castles were a little bit different. But there were also some similarities. The hair of the women were done the same, as well as their hair pieces were almost exactly the same. And in both the movies, I believe, and so does Nick, believe that the music went well in both the movies. It smoothed well with the scenes and everything. So thank you for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed.